10 kilometers north of Jerusalem stands Ramallah. Originally part of the Kingdom of Jordan, the city was captured by the Israeli army during the Six-Day War of 1967 and has remained part of the Palestinian occupied territories ever since. The city is the major economic and social hub of the West Bank and is the de facto capital of the Palestinian National Authority. Historically a Christian stronghold, these days the majority of Ramallah's 25,000 residents are Muslim and lead a conservative lifestyle. Like many countries in the Middle East, society here is predominantly male-led, with women often denied the same opportunities. Yet Transworld Sport travelled to Ramallah recently to report on a small group of women who are challenging the female stereotype, and they're doing so in the macho world of motor racing.
When we started racing, it didn't go down well with people here. They would usually say, "Why do you race? This is a sport for men." But we persevered despite the criticism. And slowly people started to accept the idea that a woman can race cars, just like a man.
Meet Mara, Betty, Mona and Noor. Better known as the Speed Sisters, they're the first all-female motor racing team in the Arab world. The team, who are not actually sisters, was formed in 2010 with funding from the British consulate in East Jerusalem. Since then, the Speed Sisters have not looked back, proving the equals of their male counterparts. Maysoon Jayusi is the team's manager.
When the team was first created, people were initially pretty sceptical. They couldn't quite grasp what we were all about and what we were trying to do. We were very underestimated. But thanks to the support and funding that we received from the British government, these women are proving that they can compete, not only amongst themselves, but also against the men. In a short space of time, the Speed Sisters have done very well. People both nationally and internationally know who they are. And I think, given a bit more time, the team will get even better.
Utilising unused car parks and closed-off areas, the Palestinian Motorsports and Motorcycle Federation runs a series of races across the West Bank. Racing around a fixed track, which includes a variety of obstacles, the season runs from March to November and culminates in the best driver throughout the year being crowned as the overall champion. Motorsport is popular throughout the Middle East, yet the Speed Sisters' involvement in it has attracted criticism from some conservative and hard-line quarters. The team, though, are challenging many people's attitudes to women and building a solid fan base in the process.
People are fascinated by the fact that there are girls racing. They think that it's only a sport for men, but we're proving them wrong. We're showing that Palestinian women can do it too, and we're making a name for ourselves. Racing the men, we've achieved some great results.
31-year-old Betty Sade is the star of the team and a leading figure in the West Bank's burgeoning motorsport scene. In 2010, she was crowned as the individual women's champion. Born in Mexico to Palestinian parents, Betty began racing at the age of 11.
I love motor racing. It's in my blood. My father was a rally champion back in Mexico, and my brother George was the 2009 autocross champion here. When I came back to live in the West Bank, the first thing I did was join the Motor Racing Union. Ever since, I've been successful. Part of my success is down to the support I've had from my family and friends.
Betty, who works at the Mexican consulate in East Jerusalem, has won numerous titles and accolades, both locally and abroad. She's also been named as the fastest woman in the West Bank on a number of occasions.
As I've said, my success is not just down to me. Along with my family and friends, another person I'm grateful to is the president of the Motor Racing Union, Mr. Khalid Kadora. He's helped me and the other girls out by finding sponsors, and that's been a key factor in us racing and winning so many trophies.
At the races in the West Bank Series, the Speed Sisters compete alongside their male counterparts. This year, Betty's on course to retain her title. She's performed brilliantly this season, finishing ahead of many male drivers at a number of events.
I thank God that it's been a very successful year for me. I've had some great results. I finished in the top 10 at the last race, and if I repeat that performance in the final race, I'll be champion once again.
Despite their success, the Speed Sisters still face a number of difficulties. While the men and women compete on an equal basis at the races, the men tend to have more expensive, modified cars. Even though the Palestinian Motorsports Federation does provide them with some support, the girls have to use their own personal vehicles at events.
Yes, unfortunately we do have to use our own cars, but they're not meant for racing. They are for regular day-to-day driving. What we need is more sponsorship and help, because motor racing is very expensive. We can't afford all the maintenance and modifications required. We spend a lot of our own money on this sport, so it's not that easy for us to be competitive all the time.
Recently, the local federation applied to the FIA, motorsports governing body, for financial aid to help improve and maintain the motor racing scene in the Palestinian territories.
If our application for funding from the FIA is approved, it would be a huge step forward for the sport here. The more financial help we get, the better the racing will be. Hopefully, if it's God's will and we receive the money, the plan is to provide some more funding for the Speed Sisters.
The hard work and determination of the Speed Sisters has seen them become role models to many women and girls. Betty and her fellow drivers hope that they have contributed to a shift in attitudes in Palestinian society as to what women can and can't do.
I'm very proud to be a role model for Palestinian women. If you're a talented woman who dreams of driving fast cars, then why shouldn't you be allowed to do that?
The subject of a forthcoming documentary film, the Speed Sisters have battled hard to be accepted in their chosen sport. They've overcome limited resources and criticism of their participation. And while there is still work to be done to ensure the team's continued success, it looks likely that this sister act will continue to go from strength to strength in the forthcoming years.
I love to race. I love the speed and the challenge of mastering the car. I think it's one of the most challenging things to do here in Palestine. We don't have a lot here, but racing makes me so happy.
Motor racing is fantastic because there's an element of adventure. It's exciting to compete against the guys, and to beat them is a wonderful feeling.